Okay, we're rolling. Hi, my name is Kristen Hopstad, and I'm going to be talking today about what I learned about myself and the different roles of the advanced practice nurse through the modules that we studied in the first part of the Nursing 505 class. The first question, the strengths you have identified through the discussion board postings on the fit between your abilities and the competencies expected of nurses in the advanced roles you've been exploring. How do these strengths help you to be an effective leader and manager? So I'm going to try not to ramble too much. I will try to go systematically, speaking about my insights about each of the different roles in turn through the modules. So for Module 3, education, education and leadership are integral to each other. In order to be good at one, you have to have some skills at the other. But this is where the challenges come. I took a job in management, but I don't have any interest in being an educator. I've had numerous opportunities to orient or precept nursing students, new hires. I was even a clinical instructor at a community college for a couple years. I love being the recipient of education. I love researching and learning new things. I love talking about new things and the things that I've learned, but I don't like being a teacher. I don't feel like I express myself well, good enough to explain, and I self-doubt when people question me. But that's for the other part. That's for question 2. Module 4, I would have never seen myself as a leader because I don't have the charismatic personality that many leaders possess. But looking back, I realized that I've naturally stepped into leadership roles always. When I see the need, I do it. I just step in because that's how you get things done. I want to be able to use my influence to improve patient and staff experiences within my unit. I want to be able to explain why behind certain initiatives. I feel that's really important because it helps promote buy-in and engagement. When people know why, they're more inclined to go along with it. I think it's respectful too, to be able to explain that to people. I want to be that kind of leader for people because I haven't always had that myself. I want to support the growth of my staff so they can reach their potential. I want to promote the maximum potential for my department to best meet the needs of the community. I knew going into grad school that leadership track was what I wanted. Hearing the interviews through the modules affirmed that direction for me. I knew, yeah, this is it. This is what I want to do. The stories confirm things that I had already learned in the last 2 years as a leader, like identifying needs along with ways to solve them. I like that many of the leaders talked about going back to the bedside to re-energize because I do that all the time. I think it's pretty awesome to be able to support your staff on one side so that they can do the best job they can, but then to also be able to step out and to make connections with the patients because that's why we're here too. I feel like I get the best of both worlds that way, and I love it. So for Module 5, for Global Public and Community Nursing, I've always been interested in different languages and cultures. I love traveling to different countries and seeing how different people live. I think it's fascinating. I think it would have been very rewarding to enable populations in need become self-sustaining medical missions. I would love to be able to get in a couple medical missions a year. Being able to travel and help people, yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of value to giving back to a world that's provided me so much. I also like the idea of helping create policies or even a legislature that promotes things like occupational safety and environmental health. I love when a group of passionate people get together to create solutions, and I could see myself thriving in this sort of role. My area of focus right now is addiction medicine, and I could easily see translating this expertise to the public or community sector. Module 7, I think that I do have the budding skills needed to be a CNE thanks to our master's program. Being a CNE requires strong leadership skills, teaching skills, and self-motivation. I'm definitely self-motivated. I'm good at identifying issues and solving problems. I'm not as strong with my leadership and teaching skills, but I'm getting there. We get to do a lot of standing up and speaking in front of the groups and things like that. Wasn't something that I was comfortable with at all, but I'm getting there. I'm not panicked every time yet. I'm getting better. I'm not as strong. Let's see. I like this role. I like that this role can be used to empower, inspire, and encourage nurses to go further in their careers. It's really enabling to the younger generations of nurses. You're giving back. I feel like being a CNA would be very satisfying because you enable nurses to build their skills, which in turn helps every patient they will encounter in the future. I like that CNEs have flexible daily schedules. They get to prioritize when their time is spent to a large degree. They do not do direct patient care, but they maintain their clinical skills by teaching others, so that's pretty cool too. Research for Module 8, I felt is a really interesting career path. Researchers are able to pick current issues and turn them into solutions because of what they do. The role seems very intellectually fulfilling and rewarding, but the downside of funding issues and constant rejection makes the role less appealing to me personally. There's several areas where my current skills make me a good fit to be a researcher. I'm good with thinking outside the box. I'm methodical in my thinking and my practice. I'm good at collaboration and problem solving, and method determination. I enjoy the process of writing and research papers. So yeah, I think that would be kind of cool too. I just like being a nurse. That's one of the reasons why I got into nursing. There's so many possibilities, and having an advanced degree just blows them all out of the water. So it's pretty amazing. Okay, for the second question, the areas for growth you have identified related to the competencies required in the various roles. What are some possible and realistic avenues for pursuing these areas for growth? For this area, for this question, I'm going to go down the line of roles again and talk about the personal growth I would need to be more effective for each. Then I'll talk about the different role paired with the American Association of Colleges of Nursing's 9 essentials with outcomes. Most of the essentials are important for many of the different roles for a master's prepared nurse. I'm going to give several examples, but it will not be an exhaustive list by any means. I've already alluded to a lot of the different competencies with the first question, so for the sake of brevity, I won't go into great detail about them, but I will be addressing them. So for Module 3, I recognize that I'm just an okay educator. I have the knowledge, but I have difficulty imparting it. I struggle with finding the right words to say and expressing myself appropriately. I'm getting better. When a student questions me, my first reaction is to question myself. I lack the confidence and enthusiasm to be a good teacher. I'm an introvert. So communicating for a long period of time and being questioned and have to feed people information is draining to me. I can do little bits and then I need to go back and check emails for a while. When a student I'm an introvert. I prefer to work behind the scenes or to talk to individuals or small groups rather than stand and present to large groups as an expert, because who am I? I do not enjoy public speaking or being responsible for conveying information to others in a way that's correct and makes sense to the audience. Essential 3 of the AACN competencies is quality improvement and safety. I think educators are key champions for this, because it's one of their objectives to identify best practice and make sure everyone they are in charge with is aware of and held accountable for these standards. Because I'm responsible as a leader for the outcomes in my departments, I need to make sure my staff is getting the information they need to provide the best outcomes for our patients. So in that way, I'm an educator. I still educate. Module 4, there are many areas where I can grow as a leader. I would put communication skills at the top of the list. This would include speaking in front of groups as well as relaying sensitive information to individuals. I also would like to grow my technical skills by being able to seamlessly share my screen during a conference call without fumbling to find what I need to display. And they keep changing the formats. It was Link, and then it's Zoom, and then it's WebEx, and I want to be proficient. I don't want to seem like the dummy that can't, figure it out. I also want to learn how to use Excel so I can take advantage of all that the tool has to offer me in my role. Essential 2 of the AACN competencies addresses organizational and system leadership as in being important because you can be more effective leader if you know how to follow the chain of command. What the objectives are for the organization, who the stakeholders are that you need to pay attention to, who your resources are, and who to go to when you need support. I'm growing in this capacity every day. I've been in this role as a nurse manager for 2 years now. Toward the beginning of taking this on, I started exploring the possibility of taking Medicaid patients. There's a huge population of people that need chemical, substance misuse treatment that have Medicaid, and they end up in the acute care units and they bog up beds, and they should be coming to us. We're the more appropriate place for them, but we don't take Apple. So I've been trying to work with the systems and the community and the BHO, and it's been really challenging because I don't know how to make a business plan. I don't know who the key players are. I don't know how to influence and to get what I need to serve our community. So now it's 2 years later, and I'm in a room with all these senior leaders, and they're holding me accountable. Why haven't you gotten this going yet? Why aren't we there? Why don't we have Apple patients? And we're having to start the whole process all over again. But now I know my resources, and I have awesome people that I'm working with, and I'm really confident that we're going to be able to serve our community so much better than we are right now. So I'm really excited about that. For Module 5, I think this type of nursing, the global public community health nursing, requires a lot of passion, more passion and commitment than a lot of the others. You can be passionate and committed to any of the roles, but it requires a lot of time and energy. You're putting your whole body and soul into this type of nursing. It's a huge time commitment to create legislature and to work with people in foreign countries. Your time is away from your family and your friends. Your job is your life. I could see how this type of nursing could make a person feel trapped sometimes because they're so deeply committed to what you're doing. It's hard to get away. My family commitments would make it impossible for me to take on these sorts of roles. I've already been turned down for volunteer opportunities for foreign countries because I'm not fluent in any foreign language, and I don't have any recent experience with like perioperative or other direct patient care, which really kind of sucks. If I was to take on a role as a global public or community health nurse, I feel I would need to learn more about the unique issues that face the populations that I hope to help, because every situation would have a unique set of issues to address. Essential 1 from the AACN competencies is background for practice from sciences and humanities. And that means being aware of what is going on in the communities as well as new scientific discoveries. Being a master's prepared nurse, people expect you to be on top of current research, and I'm going to have to start subscribing to journals and getting on listservs so that I'm aware and can articulate the key information about subjects that are important to nurses. They want to know, and I need to be able to tell them. I have to live to a higher standard now. Thank you very much. Module 7, what does not appeal to me about the CNE role is the teaching aspect. I have a tough time explaining why something should be performed as it should be because I tend to internalize the information, and it's hard for me to bring it back out and explain it to others, especially when it feels like I'm being, put on point, I guess. It also seems like CNEs get buried with lots of different projects and initiatives, and it would be difficult to make everybody happy. You can't get it all done, ever. You can't fulfill everybody's mission and be successful 100% of the time. And that's kind of the same for a lot of the different roles, but there's a lot of overlap. For Module 8, I think there are many things that make research a bad fit for me. I'm not strong in creating business proposals or budgeting. That comes in next year's classes. I'm committed. I would hate to have to present my findings to a crowd at a conference. I'm not fond of building a project from the start that includes recruiting and supervising participants. I know very little about data interpretation, and I'm not good at math. Essential 5 is about translating and integrating scholarship into practice. That includes applying research results, because that is where best practice comes from. I need to get better at performing literature reviews. Standard of care is medical assisted treatment induction for opiate patients. In my role working in the detox unit, the standard of care is when people come in with opiate addictions. Before they leave, they're sent out. Before they leave, they're inducted into Suboxone treatment, so they've already gotten some doses. And when they leave, they're given a prescription. They're told where to follow up for to continue the medication. We don't do that here, and one of the reasons is because I had no idea that this was the standard of care. I found out recently, but it's bad form if somebody that's the head of a department and this is my specialty and I don't know what the standard of care is. That's not good. It's not job security. So I need to know the evidence so I can make informed decisions that affect my patients. Essential 6 is about health policy and advocacy. This is similar to Essential 5. The advanced practice nurse has to know the research data so they can advocate for best practice policies for the facility. They have to know what other facilities are doing also, so they can learn what works and what does not work for their places, so they don't have to recreate the wheel, so to speak. This aligns with Essential 7, interprofessional collaboration for improving patients and population health outcomes. I have a lot of different teleconferences where it's all the key players from the whole region for 11 different states all getting together on the phone, designing policies and doctor's orders and all that sort of stuff based on best policy. So if I want to be able to be an effective member of that team, I need to know how to talk. I need to know what to say, and I need it to make sense. Question 3. Your thoughts on how you as a leader and manager can promote the professional development of staff who are working in advanced nursing roles or who would like to move into such roles. Module 3. As a leader, I might help develop someone's development as an educator by offering them opportunities to lead project groups. I would encourage them to be a super user or champion for learning a new process or a piece of equipment being rolled out to the unit. I would encourage them to become an active part of a committee who collaborates to improve areas that have been identified as needing improvement. I would encourage them to become a mentor for newer nurses. We have some awesome mentorships here. It's really helpful for the newer nurses. I would encourage them to offer training at a staff meeting about a certain topic so they can practice teaching, public speaking, and being seen as a resource to others. For Module 4, for someone pursuing a leadership pathway, it would be helpful to have training with budgeting, staffing matrices, spreadsheets, productivity, purchasing, Outlook, among other systems. I think when I first started, I made a list of all the different computer programs that I needed to know how to perform, know how to utilize, and I think it was like 35 different ones. And of course, maybe a quarter of those have changed now, and I have to adapt every time. Practice running meetings and agendas. Public speaking would be helpful as well. As a leader, I could promote the professional development of someone pursuing a role in leadership by offering leadership opportunities for them to practice and develop their skills. I would have them be in charge nurse and join committees. I would have them precept and orient students and new hires. I would give them projects and have them develop solutions for issues on the unit. I could have them research a topic relevant to issues on our unit and help develop best practice policies, which would help me out a lot. And then they could train the staff on the unit. So it's helping everybody. It trickles down and up as well. Module 5, for someone interested in pursuing this advanced role, I think it would be very helpful to offer job shadowing opportunities to help the person know if this would be a good fit for them. I think connecting with Karen Bowman and watching her do an occupational assessment would be fascinating for someone interested in this type of career, and just might be the one thing that makes up their mind. Offering field trips to Olympia to watch nurses lobby for public health, or even having a legislator come to campus to talk about how nurses can influence population health from their perspective would be useful. Offering study tours to foreign countries or even areas in need in our own country would be useful to someone interested in working in this area of nursing. I'm going on a Thailand trip to learn about the healthcare systems in Thailand, and going to other places to help for medical missions, and even housing helps. It helps a lot. Or going to different like Indian reservations and things like that, giving resources, telling them how to connect with groups that will help them get connected with places in need, I think would be awesome. Give them mentors. When you can't be a mentor yourself, give them the resources. As a leader, I could promote the development of someone wishing to pursue this type of advanced role by allowing them time off to volunteer or go on a medical mission. I could connect them with community organizations, I've already said some of this, that focus on healthcare issues so they know what is out there. I could encourage my workers to participate in volunteer activities to promote positive health outcomes. Since I work with substance misuse, I could enable them to offer information about addiction and treatment options at community events, which I do. We had a conference last week about addiction medicine, and we had a couple of our staff go and talk to them. And part of my field work for the master's program is going to be going to do some field work out in the communities, in the homeless camps. I'm really excited about that, because I know the resources and the people to ask. I could also plan a visit to a homeless shelter or community outreach center with a person so they can get a better understanding of how addiction affects the community and what resources are available to people in need. For Module 7, the practical experience that would be most helpful for learning about this role would be shadowing one or more CNEs for a full day or more to get a better picture about what they are required to do, because their days are so flexible. They don't do the same thing every day by any means. Since their days are so different from one to the next, it would take time to get a full picture. As a leader, I could support someone who is interested in pursuing this role by connecting them with one or more CNEs so they can talk with and maybe shadow them. I can reinforce their feelings by telling them how important the CNE is to the rest of the nursing staff and the organization as a whole. For Module 8, practical experience that would be helpful for someone considering becoming a researcher would be to actually write a research report or conduct a research study. Being able to shadow a researcher would also be helpful, as would be going to a conference and hearing a researcher present his findings. As a leader, I could support someone considering becoming a nurse researcher by giving them research projects that would be beneficial to my department, like exploring how to prevent patients in alcohol withdrawal from going into DTs, or doing a literature review to determine the best way to help patients in detox manage symptoms of anxiety. I could encourage the person to join the Best Practice Council or to present a poster at a research symposium. I've really enjoyed this 505 class. I think it's been very helpful to explore the different roles and requirements and to be able to reflect on what I think my best fit would be. It's really nice to know that there are so many options that we have because we are completing an advanced nursing degree, and I feel really fortunate to be in this program. I want to thank you for your attention, and now I will sign off. Bye.